Hey guys, this is Joe Klemczewski, and you're listening to Project My Life with Anthony Monetti.
Yeah! I love you, man. Thank you for the opportunity. Are we in Anthony interview mode?
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. I feel like there's so much going on in the diet doc world that I'm really kind of out of the loop. I'm realizing that as we grow, you need more people. So in the beginning, I made a mistake as a business owner, and I met a lot of cool people through the membership of the company and people, clients, so to speak. So we helped change their life. And they expressed interest in becoming, a fitness coach or a nutrition coach or, these sort of things. So I said, this is great. You're a great person. You've been through the program. You kind of get it. Why don't you come on board and I'll coach you on becoming a coach? And what I realized is that there's a different relationship when you're dealing with somebody as a client, and then when you become like a manager or an employer, excuse me, there's a whole different kind of mindset, and I have a horrible time. I'm getting better at it, I should say, but just really drawing that line in the sand to make sure it's like, okay, well, we're friends now, and then we're going to be, I'm your coach, I'm your leader, and you're going to listen to what I recommend, and we're going to follow this kind of protocol and these systems. And it really got blurry. And I had to let go a few people because they weren't a good fit. And I actually hired personalities instead of positions. And as I dig deeper into the business, I'm learning that you need to hire positions that are going to make your business successful and not just helping people out, so to speak. So how do you recruit your people, and how do you find your team members?
That's a great point. And, as a business consultant, that's really what I consider myself now more than anything, all the hats I wear. We do so much business development work and brand identity consulting work. And after 20 years having several businesses and so forth, I've made every mistake and I've done some things well along the way too. And this is the key. I mean, payroll will always be your biggest expense. It will make or break you. And I was exactly the same way as you. When I was early in my business, I wanted to pull my friends in, people that I could get along with. And I had kind of a motto. I said, I would rather hire on character, kind of the good to great bus methodology. You can always move people around on different seats on the bus, but you just got to have the right people.
Right.
And there's a huge truth to that. But the bigger you get as a business, the more you really do need technical skill. You need people who can do the things that you need. It does no good if you have a bus full of mechanics and no driver.
Right.
And so you just, you got to have both. So I totally agree. And my process of recruiting is both. I mean, I'm looking for that person I know is going to be a good fit. And then also we've got to see, do they truly have the skills we need? And today, what we do more than anything is just contract out. I mean, I pay my graphics departments or my guys, a lot of money every year, but I don't employ them. They have their own business. So I can keep my core staff minimal and as high quality as I can, be very flexible, and then just farm everything else out.
That's my outsourcing, right? And then
Absolutely.
In the beginning, I wanted to I'm an entrepreneur. I want to build a team, and it was
right.
it kind of bit me in the ass, and I feel bad because the people I let go, they may have been good people, but just not a good fit. So of course I got some backlash from them, and it didn't end the way it could have. But I learned, and right. I'm still new at this whole business thing, so I'm learning as I go, so to speak. But
absolutely,
I appreciate that thoroughly. All right, so what exactly is the diet doc? I'm a licensee now for, I don't know, coming up on 5 years, and I was reluctant to even hire you to coach me in the beginning because I wanted to do it on my own, and I thought I could do it myself. And, everybody, I don't know if they know the story, but it took me 12 years to get my pro card, and it took you and me working together 12 weeks before I actually, nailed it. So tell me a little about the concept of diet doc and why the diet doc exists.
Well, it was kind of a natural evolution, but there were definitely some defining moments in that evolution. Number one, like I said, when I was 27 years old, I struck out on my own to create a business. Bought an existing gym, turned it into a fitness facility, kind of a holistic place where we're doing nutrition and all kinds of stuff, tons of retail and massage therapy and all kinds of stuff. And we just grew and grew and grew incredibly fast and created a supplement company that we ended up growing so rapidly that we lost it. That's a story in and of itself, where we were only the third company nationally to be on grocery store shelves, right alongside EAS and Metrics, the first two.
Wow.
And yeah, long story about that ended up in a federal lawsuit, and the guy's in prison still to this day because of it. But
wow.
That made me kind of tuck my tail back into our fitness facility and decide, okay, now what am I going to do? What's my next step? And I just kind of had a taste of a bigger vision at that point, and I wanted to move toward, something that could grow with me throughout my entire career. I think you can only, do so much of the hands-on gym type work, and then you get bored. I mean, you eventually just have to do more. So I ended up selling the gym and created the Diet Doc as a company where I could just do the nutrition consulting. And part of that reason is this. 20 years ago, when I started my business, I read a stat in the Club Industry Journal that 86% of people in our country do not belong to a gym or use a personal trainer. So if that is your business model, you're only shooting at 14% of the population anyway. So that's what made me make that turn. And now today, ironically, 20 years later, that stat is still 86%, even though we have a gym and trainer on every single corner.
Right.
So I think I made the right move in creating what I could consider competition with the big box nutrition chain type stores. And so the Diet Doc is a general population. We call it Diet Doc Permanent Weight Loss System. Our new book, 50 Days to Your Best Life, because we're including a lot more of Corey's counseling work as she's finishing her PhD this year. And so the Diet Doc is just this. It's a licensed program that you can use in any environment. It's licensing and franchising are governed by two different sets of laws. Franchising is like an employee relationship instead of a subcontractor. If we were franchising, we would have to have specific rules that say, you have to have this size facility, your carpet has to be this color, this is what you do, you can't do this. It's very limiting in scope. I mean, think of McDonald's, Subway, things like that. Licensing, you can say, okay, you have our intellectual property, you have our logo, you have our support, we're training you, but you can use this program anywhere. You can use it in a training studio, in a gym, you can have a freestanding location. And so that allows us to continue to help our business owners, our license owners, grow in the areas they enjoy. And it's been fantastic. I mean, like I said, we're about in our 10th year. We've got over 70 locations around the world. It's our biggest push just in helping people create that business of their dreams.
I can't agree more, because to be honest with you, I don't even use the Diet Doc brand. I mean, I use your concepts, and I obviously, I still, give you, money every month because I appreciate and I value your support. But I'm looking to build my own brand, and that's Body. So I love that fact that we can run our studio the way we want to run it. We still hand out the Diet Doc sheets, the templates and all the other stuff, and we still push your book and we still sell your protein. But it gives us the flexibility to actually build something of our own and kind of use the Diet Doc philosophy and concept in our back corner, so to speak. So I think it's brilliant. It really is, because a couple other franchises out there, fitness related franchise that I was thinking about in the beginning, because I wanted to do it quick, and then I realized I'd rather just grind through it and create something of my own. But I had to rebrand my whole system and everything else, and it was kind of, I'm sure in the beginning it might have been okay to get the blueprint, but then after a couple months I'm like, shit, I could have did the same thing, and I want to do differently. But you're locked in for some kind of agreement, and it's actually a miserable process. So hats off. I think it's brilliant, and it's been working out wonders for us.
Thanks. I mean, and there are pros and cons to that. There are some people who really want the brand identity and strength, and we have this massive portal system, and the amount of training, from weekly conference calls to monthly in-house training, annual training weekends, the newsletters we put out, our own magazine now, our book. I met with an agent, one of the top agents on the East Coast last week, and they're thinking about picking us up for an entire series of books. Those are things that a lot of people sink their teeth into and say, this is what can take me from obscurity to being a real community leader. Right. Somebody like yourself who already has established that in your own name. You're right. You get our training, you get our support, you get all the resources, but you can still use your own brand as the tip of the spear.
Well, let's talk about the portal a little bit, because there's there was some issues that we'll get into more about that later, about, people were dissatisfied with it, but I didn't really even dive into it yet. Karen and I are kind of just grinding through our day-to-day, but I do want to learn more about the portal system and how you support your licensees, on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis.
Yeah, the portal system is just kind of the next step in curriculum. If anybody's familiar with Blackboard out there, what all the university systems use, like I just finished a master's degree out in Connecticut, and even though it was a low residency program, I went out there every single semester for a week, met all the professors, peers, and all that. We would be on virtual Blackboard, all week long, submitting things. The syllabus is there and all that stuff. It's just this entire digital community. And so the portal system is that exact kind of platform. Our website is built on the largest digital platform available. You just can't outgrow this. And so we're able to put this entire thing in there where now clients can go through one track at a time, 1 week at a time. So if you have a client, you're a license owner, you have a client, you say, okay, this person just purchased track 1, it's 50 days, 7 weeks. So here's, week 1, week 2, week 3. They get in the portal system. There's an overview podcast where I kind of describe everything, in 10 to 15 minutes, everything they're going to do that week. There's a reading from the chapter. They link right to the part of the book that they need, and only that. Then there's an activity. This is what we're going to build on this week. This is exactly what you need to do, one step at a time. Corey has a great 5-minute video webinar where she's bringing in the mental edge and again, reviewing what we need. And there are links to the extra resource. So all the webinars, all the podcasts, all the articles we've created, we categorically archive in a resource library you can link to. So there are those 5 steps, quick, bam, 1 page, every single week for your clients. So it takes a lot of the legwork out because this can become very blue collar.
Absolutely.
You end up, telling new clients the same thing in week 1, the same thing in week 2, and you're just doing the same kind of consults over and over, and it's a new experience for them. You can never get rid of that coaching, high-touch client interaction, but you can leverage your time in the expertise of other people, like Corey, myself, people in the company, and so that's the portal system. It's a way for our license owners to be able to help more clients. Those clients gain competency much faster because of all these extra resources. And it's also very systematic. You probably know if you've done some online work, as you're trying to describe what you do, it's consulting.
Yeah.
Well, what do I get for that? Well, you get me. Well,
right.
what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to help you. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
And so we can show somebody, look, this is the product. This is the system. This is the Diet Doc permanent weight loss, 50 days to your best life system. It's much easier to communicate, and then there's so much more tangible meat there for them to sink their teeth into.
This is for the client or actually for the licensee owner?
No, it's for the clients. I mean, the license owners get in there. So you have your own, access, and so you can manage your client load through this portal. You can see all of your clients. You have all their contact information. You have the dates when they start, and you can even lock and unlock different parts for them. So if you want them to go through 1 week at a time without, quote, peeking ahead, you can just kind of unlock 1 week at a time, or you can unlock the whole thing. It's whatever you want. You get to manage that part of the portal, but your clients are in there with access to all of this stuff so that you can leverage your time. Wow,
I actually love that. What does that cost for the client and for the licensee owner?
One track is $499, so they get a 50-day program for $500, and then track 2 and 3 there are some bundling, so you can buy track 1 and 2, which would be 2 50-day tracks for $799, or all 3 for $999.
Interesting. That's actually a brilliant idea, and that's scalable, right? So that you think about business, how could you make your business scalable? And that's like, I watch the Shark Tank all the time, and they always ask you, like, how is this scalable? How can we make this bigger? And there's your answer, right? That's pretty awesome, man.
That's what we're doing for our license owners. I mean, our job right now, and that's why I said I consider myself more of a business developing consultant than anything, is to help our license owners build their dream business, make more money. And you're only going to make more money if your clients are successful. And you've got to have these kind of tools to make it scalable for you, not just us.
Right. Wow. Interesting stuff, man. Real quick, who is your ideal client for that? I mean, you started off with bodybuilders, but then obviously general population. There's more reach. The bodybuilders are kind of like 0.1% of the world. So who would be your ideal client right now? Is it mostly general population still?
Yeah, well, for the diet doc system like that, absolutely. I mean, you know what the obesity rates are out there and how much money is being spent in the industry, but we still have our performance division. We have 5 peaking directors that I work personally with. I mean, they bring. I mean, we have clients coming in for bodybuilding, prep work, and we have a team of coaches as well. And I mean, we all work together. We have this collaborative, just multi-systemic approach where we have so much great staff to just envelop our clients with this support. And it's working great. I mean, we've got the contest prep side humming along fantastically. We're obviously creating resources like this for our general population clients through our license owners. So staying busy.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think I missed the boat on becoming a peaking director for the diet doc, but it's interesting to see that develop. And are you still recruiting any directors? Would that be a possibility for me and Karen, or no?
For you guys, absolutely. I mean, we only allow coaches or directors to come through our system. You have to be a licensed owner because we want to know, again, the quality of work you're going to do. We want to know that we've worked together and you're basically trained. And we just have to have that kind of quality control.
Sure.
But absolutely. I mean, you and Karen, contact me and we'll talk about the options because you guys definitely fit the bill.
Awesome. All right, so I just came from a BNI networking meeting this morning, and I'm all fired up with just business development.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm pumped up, man. Karen belongs to one on Tuesdays. I just joined one on Wednesdays, and I had my 10-minute presentation today. And
wow.
It's exciting. So it's all about the business and why you're doing the business. So I have a question here for you. Like, you're doing all this stuff. What's your why, man? What's your light at the end of the tunnel? Because your day-to-day grind is kind of like, I've seen you work. And when you came out to Jersey, when we signed on, you were like, we went to bed at 11:30 and you pulled your laptop up and you started working. And you were up before us and you were working on your laptop. So this day-to-day grind, where is it getting you? What's your big vision as far as the light at the end of the tunnel? Because you have to have something you're goaling yourself for, right? So do you picture yourself on a beach in Barbados kind of chilling out, drinking a martini? Or what is it that you envision for yourself?
Yeah, we need to get back down there together. That was a fun trip.
I agree, man.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a point of accountability that you feel on multiple levels. And for me, it's always started with the closest relationship, meaning when somebody comes in as a client and they've paid me money for my help, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I mean, it's not going to be put off. It's not going to be, well, I'll get to that. It's not going to be, I don't have time. Whatever it takes, when somebody has hired me, I'm going to do it. And so that drives me every single day. When I have clients, who need something, they're going to get it. But now we have a team of license owners, and now I'm committed to them to build a business. And so creating these resources, doing all these things, like you said, to increase quality, make it more scalable, help them create more revenue. That's a huge driving force because now I have all these great friends and relationships with these license owners. Now I also have staff, that I'm always, as you said, recruiting and making promises to, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And now Corey is a business partner. I mean, nothing increases your accountability than having other people relying on you. And underneath all of that, as you know, Anthony, is your actual family. Right. Sitting at home, you're doing all this for one purpose, because you're providing, I don't want to be too dramatic, but life for your family. Yeah. So every step of the way at every level, there's there is that why. And for us, the Diet Doc is a corporate brand. It is a vehicle for people who can build these dream businesses within our system. That's what we're jacked up about. And we're just, as far as light at the end of the tunnel, I'm only 45 years old. Nice. I think I've got a few more years I can put into it. So.
How is your family, man? You have a whole tribe over there. How are we doing with those guys?
Yeah, my oldest turns 21 in about a week and a half. And wow. He's a financial planner, graduates in one semester, he's kicking butt. He's already in one of the biggest financial planning firms in the country. He's already the #1 intern in the region. You know, he's just a go-getter. My daughter, who's 18, is starting school, or just spent a month and a half down in the Dominican Republic doing some work just on her own, helping out kids down there.
Wow.
Trey is 16, getting his license here pretty soon.
Oh, that's crazy.
He's the one, as you know, won a state championship, pitched on ESPN, heading to the Little League World Series, just a physical beast. And then our little one is 12, so she's the only one kind of running us ragged right now, but she's just high energy, just a stick of dynamite on wheels.
Now, true, it's still the fact that they're all homeschooled. Is that correct?
No, we started out doing that just because we thought we could kind of control their education a little bit better, and hopefully as quote young idealistic scared parents, we wanted to protect them from anything bad that could happen. Right. Things like Columbine were happening at the time. But once they got to about middle school age, I immediately saw that this is just absolutely not going to work. So we asked our oldest if he wanted to go to high school, and he did. And that was just the perfect age where I thought they really needed to start getting out there on their own and becoming more independent. And every single one of them had just loved that. They love staying home and having that kind of flexibility. And then, bam, as soon as they're high school level, they just can't wait to get there. And it kind of shows in their attitude. They look they look for those opportunities, and it's more fun for them. That's
awesome, man. Almost like the Amish do, right? At a certain age, they kind of just set them into the wild, and they see how they do.
Not only am I in Indiana, now you're comparing me to me.
I'm only messing with you, man. I love you, bro. I love you.
It's freaking awesome.
All right, real quick. So you said you're open book. So I saw, if you're okay with talk about it, about there was some recent public kind of issues with a disgruntled diet doc licensee. How do you handle that kind of negative stuff online and out there in Facebook? I had some, like I said earlier, disgruntled employees just doing stupid shit online and making me out to be this horrible guy, and I didn't respond. But as Lane and I talked, you have a wonderful ability to just kind of put shit in perspective and verbally bitch slap people in a way that they don't even know they're getting bitch slapped. So I mean, there's always haters out there. When you're doing well, there's always some kind of hate coming from different directions. How do you handle that, and does it affect you, more than you show?
Well, first of all, thanks for acknowledging the fact that I can hurt people with a smile on my face. That's a great skill that I like. But no, I really do have an intense personality. Even though I'm an introvert, I'm totally type A, and I'm sensitive and emotional and passionate, and so those things really do hurt. I mean, the things that keep me up at night are when there's any kind of conflict like that, and it bothers me to no end. But through 20 years of business, you just kind of learn to keep it in perspective and say, how can I grow from this? How can I become better? If somebody really has a complaint about something, there's got to be a reason. Right. Even if it was just that they perceived something that was wrong, then obviously I communicated that wrong. Right. And so in something I might have done totally wrong, I need to own that. So, anybody who's angry, or if there's any conflict, I just immediately go into an objective mode of saying, okay, let's break this down. Let's see if there's something we can work out. And if there's not, then let's just handle it like grown-ups. And what you're talking about actually came from the portal system. When you get all of these people together, a lot of smart people who are also very passionate. Everybody has ideas of what things should be like. And, this is new. This is change. This is, here's how we've been doing it, and now we're adding this great big component. And, we had all of our entrepreneurial-minded license owners who are like, gosh, this is amazing, that you have no idea how great this is going to be, and you can see the functionality, the saleability, the scalability. And then we had some people who just didn't like the change, and they decided, okay, we're just going to quit. Right. And ironically, some of the issues that were brought up were things that we did learn from. And we said, that was kind of phase 2. We wanted to get this rolled out, and you've made some great points. We've got an entire new revamp being coded right now that's taking this to a level that far exceeds even what some of those initial discussions were about. So, again, you can handle it well, and everybody can be happy, or you can pick up your marbles and go home. And it is what it is.
I hear you. That's one thing that I've learned is my communication. So throughout this whole process of building a business, I always question myself, and I always bring it back to me, and did I communicate stuff properly, especially as I get further along in the business. I take a self-reflection moment and say, okay, well, maybe they didn't understand what I wanted and what I intended. So let me think about my communication, and that's only made me a better leader, a better person in general. It's even helped my marriage, to communicate a little bit better with what I want and what my intentions are. So,
absolutely,
good, solid advice. How are we doing on time, man? You're good? We're at the 30.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, right. Definitely.
All right, cool. So I sent out a little Facebook post yesterday, and I told everybody I was going to be talking to the Diet Doc himself. And some of the questions I'm surprised that they came up with, because it seems like we've gone over this stuff before, but I feel like they just need to hear it from the man himself. So just a couple questions from my members here at Body. Kelly wants to know, how do you counteract cellular inflammation so that your body can lose weight faster?
Well, that's definitely nutrition related, where cellular inflammation or systemic inflammation comes from basically an allergy response. So like right now in Indiana, it's pollen season, and you might even be able to tell I'm congested. If I go outside, I'm just my eyes are watering, I'm sneezing, and that's that massive allergenic reaction, and we get the same thing from the foods we eat. And so number one, the first thing is not to run out and go get a huge panel of blood tests to check your IgE and IgG allergens reactivity levels, but instead just look at what we know are common allergens. We had a thread going on our Facebook group today as well, somebody asking a very similar question. When I'm prepping, or when you prep, do you get healthier or more prone to illness? And most people are saying, I always feel healthier. I never get sick when I'm dieting. And the reason is you're eating cleaner, better food. Right. If you eat sugar all day, that's a high allergen. You're just going to be very acidic. You're going to have that systemic inflammation. So the number one thing is, eat as healthy as you can. And I'm a fan, of course, of flexible dieting. It's what we've done for 20 years. So I eat, bad food occasionally, actually quite frequently, but it's still probably only 10 or 15% of my diet. So if you want to be able to get leaner faster, go back to having better structure. As much as we talk about flexible dieting, you still need quality food. You still got to have great dieting principles, and just limit that stuff. And I think you'll see that it all pans out. But at the end of the day, if you really do have some allergy type issues, you can always go to a medical doctor, get a blood draw, and have it sent in for over 200 individual food and environmental allergens to be tested.
Awesome, man. And that's another question that Chris had. He said, clean or if it fits your macros, are they equally as effective? And I mean, go ahead. I want to hear your response to that one.
Well, it's totally how you apply it. It's funny because I wrote another little article about that for our site just yesterday, and it's almost kind of the pendulum swinging. 20 years ago, when I started using macronutrient-based dieting for clients, I mean, of course, before that, Weight Watchers and other people had counted calories, but there were only a couple people in the entire industry, and more through Muscle and Fitness magazine, some of their writers, who even did any nutrition consulting with competitors. So as I started writing for magazines 17 or 18 years ago, and I started getting a lot of people reading this stuff, all of our work with our general population clients and our competitors was very flexible. Here is your macronutrient profile. I'm going to suggest protein, carb, and fat ranges or very specific numbers depending on your goal. And, I don't care if you have shredded wheat or pancakes or oatmeal for breakfast. If we think you need 40 grams of carbs for that meal, have 40 grams of carbs. Yeah. But now, of course, everybody has gone to, well, gosh, all I eat is pizza and Pop-Tarts and peanut butter cups. And of course, that's not the intention. And you won't lose as fast. I mean, because of insulin response, and especially more than anything, and this is critical, because of just inaccuracies in measurements. Right. if somebody even follows the FDA guidelines, you can be 20% high or low on any count on your label. And you know, tons of companies have gotten busted for being way over on fat and carbs.
Right.
So, don't abuse it, but of course you can have some flexibility. If you're in the middle of getting ready for a contest and it's your son's birthday, are you kidding me? You're not going to have a piece of birthday cake.
Right.
You're a horrible father,
right.
or mother. So, it's taking both and saying, how can I make this fit my life, not just, fit my macros? How does it fit my life best?
Ah, interesting. If it fits your life. I like that, man. You know what? Because people, they're extremists, right? So if it's also an excuse to just eat whatever the hell you want and get away with it. Oh, it's flexible dieting, so I'm going to have total shit all day long and get away with it because I'm and that's like the huge thing now. I get almost annoyed by it because it's principles that have been just applied too much, I feel, and it just people run with it,
But it's one of the things, my point to the article I just wrote this week is that if you are having problems with your diet, you're not losing as fast as you think you should, don't immediately start cutting out food. Look at your food structure. Maybe you actually do need some better timing. The body works. So, this is kind of the point of what I was writing about. We not only have this internal clock, we talked about the circadian rhythm and so forth, but every single organ and every single cell has an individual timing mechanism, all tied to those sleep and wake cycles. And so if you're just haphazardly eating all day long, let's say today I ingested food 18 times, I'm counting just, one rice cake as a meal of this, kind of grazing, or one day I do intermittent fasting where I eat 1 or 2 meals a day. You're just throwing so much chaos at your body. That's not the intent of flexible dieting. You still need some core structure and consistency. And the more structure you do have, the more predictable your outcome is going to be.
That's awesome, because you just touched on a few more questions that people have. Obviously, you know where people are heading when they it's time to ask the diet doc. The questions just pop up, and they're kind of just over and over and over the same kind of questions. Chris also wants to know, does intermittent fasting have a place with macro-based diet, and can it accelerate fat loss?
I love the fact that the pendulum has swung all the way to intermittent fasting, but that extreme is not the answer. I've taken people who are consuming 2 meals a day, and like I said, I love the fact that it's gotten people away from thinking they have to watch the clock for every single meal and they've got to eat every 2 or 3 hours, because that's just not necessary anabolically or for any other reason. Matter of fact, I know Dr. Bill Campbell down in Florida, spoke with him at one of Lane's camps, actually the last couple of years. And he said, as the president of the ISSN, they did a literature review and looked at every single study ever done on meal timing, meal structure, meal format, and they cannot find any indication that eating 1 or 2 meals a day or 8 or 10 meals a day will accelerate body fat loss one bit or change your outcome. Now, I will say that the longer you play out a system like that exclusively, if you just ate 2 meals a day for 6 months or 6 meals a day for 6 months, just because of insulin response and so forth and just lipolysis itself, you're going to see some changes. And that's why I think both extremes are just wrong. Right. I think most people need to come in around 4 to 5 meals a day, maybe with a really fast metabolism, another 1 or 2. But intermittent fasting, for somebody who's really, really active, would be tough. If you're a general population client that's not very active, you could get away with 2 or 3 meals a day and be fine and be happy. But when you start throwing in performance needs and pre and post workout, nutrient needs, you just got to end up around that 4 or 5 meal mark.
Right. It comes down to the same thing Lane and I were talking about. It's like people don't want to just grind through the kind of consistent, moderate eating and moderate to intense training. They just want to go balls out, and they're always looking for some kind of quick fix, or no, there's got to be there's got to be a secret. There's got to be something else that you're hiding from me. It's like, no, it's a grind. It's a process, and you just got to follow through with it without being so erratic. And I think you even said it. Drastic measures produce drastic results. So if you're looking to do anything kind of in one way of the pendulum or the other, you're going to have this drastic, result that may not be what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me see what we got here. this is from Elizabeth. She's a client of mine, just recently won her WNBF Pro card. Her question is it okay to eat your last meal at night close to bedtime? Dr. Joe, could you touch upon that, please?
It depends on the context of the day. Okay. If you're dieting consistently and you're in the long throes of that process, you're probably going to get some hunger at night, and it can be very necessary. I mean, you'll have people who say, man, I'm waking up in the middle of the night so hungry. It's like a type 1 diabetic. A type 1 diabetic, to keep blood sugar stable through the night, they have to have food before bed. Carbs would be more detrimental, but protein and a little bit of carb is helpful. And I think most bodybuilders growing up have always just kind of done some protein before bed to, quote, stay anabolic. And again, I go both ways. If you're somebody who just, you've had a light supper, dinner, or you've ended up with, a late night workout, you're somebody who trains at night, and so you're churning through that energy, need, then, you probably need something right before bed. If you have a pretty big dinner and you train in the morning, you might be okay without it. Maybe your metabolism is slow enough that it actually helps you lose faster if you don't eat at night. So just like intermittent fasting, if you eat 2 meals a day instead of 8, you're not going to lose muscle. Same thing here. It's that there are pros and cons to each. It depends on your context and your body type.
Awesome. One more question, man, then we'll move on. Is there any truth to the thought process of I'm hungry, so I'm cranking through body fat? Is there anything like my metabolism is so revved up that I'm starving and I'm burning through the body fat? Is there a direct relation to that or no?
Generally, yes, because there are so many things happening at once that trigger that hunger. First of all, on kind of a macro level, you've got your body fat cells that are signaling, in the entire endocrine system, neural gastric system loop, what's happening. So as your body fat cells get depleted, you're going to get hungrier faster. There might be some extra intensity to that. And then you're also seeing, food consistency is an issue there. How predictable is it? So you're giving your body the same, cues. But you also, if in between meals, it depends on what you define hunger like. If you just have a rumble in your stomach and you feel a little hungry, as well as I do, you can ignore it, and 2 hours later you even forgot you had that hunger pain. So it's not necessarily that. It's just that first signal of physiological hunger is that your stomach's empty. It's a baroreceptor kind of issue. But then, if you're getting depleted, your blood sugar's low, and you really start getting hungry, then absolutely you're burning body fat. You're using more fat as a percentage of energy. But you also know the contrary isn't necessarily true, because the less you eat, if you went on a 3 or 4 day fast, you hear people talk about how your hunger just goes away because your body's just in pure ketogenic mode. You're living off of body fat. Your body's not even looking to your digestive system for energy any longer. So it's one of those things where I think I know where you were leading, which is, it's not the biggest indicator because there could be confusing markers like that. But if you're really good at paying attention to those different types of hunger, you can definitely say, I haven't eaten in 3 or 4 hours. I feel really empty. I'm a little bit hungry, and I know I'm burning body fat. I mean, that's absolutely true.
Awesome. I'm sorry, but I have one more question. It's kind of it's from we call her Mama Van Pelt. Yeah, her question is, if you need to lose 100 pounds or more, would you recommend to start the process and lose faster to juice or drink protein shakes in place of food?
One of the things that I really want to do is create a cleanse type program. Everybody talks about these cleanses. Should I do a cleanse? This. And what they're really talking about is, should I go buy this expensive fiber from a health food store that's just going to make me shit my pants for 3 days? and that's what people think a cleanse is. It's all this fiber, this psyllium, and these basically just lawn clippings that they're shoving into their stomach. And there's an inductive phase. The reason Dr. Atkins originally started with this inductive phase, kind of a 2-week thing to kind of prep your body, it's really to get you more behaviorally in the mindset of dieting, and then create some structure that will follow through as new habits. And I like that. And so, in one of my graduate school classes, it was on medical fasting, the medical use of fasting. And we had to do stuff like this. We had to fast 1 day a week. I went on an actual 5-day water fast, 0 calories, nothing but water for 5 days. I was trying to go 7, but I kind of cracked on a Friday night with some watermelon. It was just like, just had to. I was just 5 days. I lost 14 pounds. It was time to eat. But, I wouldn't do a liquid type thing with just protein shakes. I would create an inductive phase if I were her and say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a week and I'm going to eat these things. Maybe it's 2 or 3 meals. Some of them are liquids, maybe just fruits and vegetables. And then I'm going to gradually add something. I'm going to add a little protein here, out of this. I think there's some great value in starting with something that gets your attention. It's that serious, but it has to be healthy. If you're doing all protein shakes, without whole food, that's not healthy. So, pick something like that and create it along that can progress, but, isn't leaving you in bad shape.
Awesome. Cool, man. So any kind of book, I know you're a big book reader and you're always filling your brain with knowledge. Any recommendations for me or the folks out there in the interwebs?
Wow, man, you're definitely in my wheelhouse now. But you better go grab some lunch. We're gonna have another hour to go.
Let's go.
No, I mentioned that I had just finished an MFA out in Connecticut, and I'm actually teaching the program now. I kind of have everything I want science-wise in nutrition. I've just got that career, and so I'm kind of looking at the next phases of life, and I want everything to tie together and be useful. So I started this professional and creative writing program in Connecticut. And it was really just kind of for fun. I thought I'm going to go out there and major in fiction and, do the next, American novel kind of things, just be the next Stephen King, John Grisham, whatever. And I started meeting some of these professors who were so great at personal essay and creative nonfiction, which could really help my professional writing for a company. And I just love that because you could still include all this personal stuff, but still it not be just, pure fiction. And so I did. I mean, for my thesis, I ended up having to read over 150 books in the program.
Wow.
I ended up now, my focus of study on my thesis was social science. So between all the neuroscience and the social science I had to read, I definitely consider that my new hobby horse. I just love it. And I'm looking forward to, even this fall, starting another master's in social anthropology. So most of what I'm reading right now is just very life development, existential, social science type stuff. There's a great book. The guy who wrote Freakonomics, he wrote a book called Stumbling on Happiness. That's one that I'm reading right now. I just finished Mind Sight by Dr. Dan Siegel, who's the head of psychiatry at UCLA Medical School. Things like Mike Shermer, Dan Harris, who are neuroscientists who end up writing on more of the philosophical side. All of that stuff really is part of overall health, certainly not nutrition or fitness, but, obviously it's all connected. And so I'm just having a lot of fun with that.
Good for you. I think it starts there, right? If you start with the brain, it makes everything, click a little bit better.
It's easy to ignore, though. I mean, it's
sure.
You get stuck in daily grind mode and you're just doing your thing and you kind of forget who you are and what you want your life to be about. And, it's always been something that stuck out in my mind, and I'm just spending more time working on that now.
That's awesome. Likewise, man, I've been obsessed with Les Brown lately. Karen got all kind of like Les Brown books from Amazon, and I listen to something every day, at least twice. And I'm looking, to read some of the books he just purchased. But it's all about that mindset and never giving up kind of thing. All right, so how do we keep up with the diet doc, man? Let's close this up and tell us more about how we can get in touch with you and your books, and give me a little ending to this podcast, brother.
All right, man. Well, the coolest thing I think we have going right now is that our newest book, 50 Days to Your Best Life, we're creating a rapid results launch book. We're making it very visual, like here are the steps, the flow charts, do this, this, this. So it's going to be another one of those resources that can really help people just move through to a faster, more comprehensive start. Then we're going to immediately start working on a book that's part of Corey's dissertation, which is more of just the pure mindset side of everything. So all of these things, I mean, I'm hoping we can keep working on them. Like I said, I'm working with an agent right now to try and get a great book deal that can, hopefully get us out there more in the mass market to fund these kind of projects. But how you can get a hold of me, the only way I know how is my email, which is dr.joe@thedietdoc.com. Our website, of course, thedietdoc.com, has contact links there. But all the other stuff between, Twitter, Instagram, and all that, I have zero idea. You would have to ask Corey. I have no clue. I told you, man, I hide from that stuff.
Who does it? Because I see you on Twitter. You post something, every other couple of days. And who does that? You have somebody managing that for you?
Well, Corey's definitely very tied to that because she's just fantastic with that kind of stuff. She's really got that long-term, vision for the company. And we have a digital marketing team here in Evansville that is, like I said, they've managed over, I think, $4 billion a year for Fortune 500 companies. They've got front and back end developers and digital marketing people, video people specifically. They really do a fantastic job. And so for some of the things that we're trying to keep resources in a regular flow for our clients and just people interacting with our company. We give it to them, and then they flow it through those channels. Awesome.
Good stuff, man. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Just happy to be on Project My Life with Anthony Monetti.
Actually,
my hero.
We didn't get that intro, man, because we started a little bit late. So let me have a little intro for the soundbite. This is Dr. Joe Klemczewski. I can't even say your last name correctly. This is the Diet Doc, and you're listening to Project My Life. Or you can do it this way. This is Project My Life, the Diet Doc. However you want to go for it, let's hear it, brother.
Hey guys, this is Joe Klemczewski, and you're listening to Project My Life with Anthony Monetti.
Yeah, I love you, man. Thank you for the opportunity, and we gotta get you out to Jersey, man, to do something.
I'm waiting for the invitation. I followed you all around the world. I've never followed anybody for a wedding or anything except for you.
I appreciate it, man. The love is mutual, but you haven't even seen our new studio, man. We got like a 3,300 square foot studio. We got actually 2 studios under one roof. It's not quite as perfectly laid out as yours, but we do have office space for our lectures and our meetings, and we're actually relaunching the kitchen in July, so we're going to have meals to go and that sort of thing. So it's a whole nother level, man. I want to get you out here. When's a good time to make that happen?
Yeah, just let me know. Email me, and we'll talk about it. Because I do it in a heartbeat.
All right, awesome, man.
Get out there.
Thanks again, bud.